Is this too bright? All right, please let me know if, yeah, I think the call is now being recorded. Oh, okay. So let's interact in the chat. What are some new words that you have learned that you didn't know before? You know, let's see. I'm not seeing any new words, any new terms, you know, something that you didn't know what exactly that means, or a phrase or an abbreviation. Come on, guys. Let's interact in the chat. Okay, Caroline says policy advocacy. That's great to know, Caroline. Someone else. Let's engage. Andre George also says policy advocacy. Oh, that's really great. Someone else, Feruzi, is there something you've learned? Stories. Let's see. Let's have like 5 responses. Oh, Andre says as ACDT, for sure, Africa Center for Digital Transformation, and actually do hope that you can get to engage with them. You are actually free to write papers for them. Sometimes they usually call for papers, so be in the lookout to hear that, you know, call for papers, call for conferences. Bridget says cybersecurity call for, you can even write blogs. I always say as a young person, the most important thing is being proactive, and you want to expand your voice beyond your country and beyond your region. So ACDT is one way to do that. Cybersecurity and data governance. Oh, that's great. Yeah. I was expecting someone to say, you know, data protection or something, but that's great. So I'm sure that we are all learning and we are all engaging, and I hope that you've go back to the WhatsApp group and connect with the people you have not connected with on LinkedIn. I do not want to take much of your time because I want us to end much earlier today, because a lot of what will be left for us to do is in our groups. You remember our groups? We have Uhuru, Palambre, we have Sankofa, and which one is the other one? Indaba. So you'll have to go to your rooms. Maybe you may not be able to do all this today, but there's gonna be a deadline of Friday to just firm up what you said. I looked at the youth call to action, that, you know, the action points that have been put in those different groups or categories, and some of the things that you suggested already exist. So remember, you want to suggest something that is not already happening or is not happening enough. So let's not just say things because it's always the things that are said in these rooms. You know, I had a joke that was saying that, you know, if you don't have anything to say and you get into an advocacy room or a civil society conference and they ambush you, if you just say it's all about aligning with the Sustainable Development Goals, and everyone is gonna agree with you. But I want us to come up with actionable recommendations that actually will see that more young people are meaningfully mainstreamed and engaged in the data governance landscape in Africa. Without much further ado, allow me to share this screen. I just, a number of you reached out to me and asked if we could go through again the African Union Data Policy Framework. And I thought maybe let's do that again so that it could guide whatever deliberations you will be having. So the program for today is going through the African Union Data Policy Framework. And then after that, yes, Rosens? Rosent, I see your hand is raised. Or maybe it's a mistaken hand. All right. So we are going to go through the AUDPF, the one I'm showing right now. People are raising their hands. Yes, Frederick. I hope I'm not speaking to myself.
Yes, thank you. I was just asking that. Yes. After we have implemented the policy, how will we know that our feedback or our points that we've discussed on the 3-day meeting have reached to the concerned parties at the AU or which department, or the Department of IT that is focusing on the changes in the advocacy of internet or data protection. Like we gave our view for the past 2 days, what the changes we need to occur, what we need, how will we know that our feedback have reached at the where it is required? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that response, and it's a very good question. So again, there's a task force that was put together to develop this African Union Data Policy Framework, of course, with funding from GIZ. I'm sure you guys know GIZ, UNECA, UNACTAD, Research ICT Africa. So specifically, GIZ and Research ICT Africa provided the financial and technical support. And then we have the AU bodies like the AUDA, NEPAD, Africa Development Bank, Africa Telecommunications Union, Smart Africa, UNECA, ETC, ITU, which is the UN Agency for Telecommunications and Digital Technology, GSMA, ETC, and there's a task force that is led by Moses Bayingana and Suhila Amazos, right? So I happen to have the privilege of working with this, you know what, let me scroll this to the very top. Great. So I happen to have the privilege of working with this task force from GIZ, and also just the team that is working with the rollout of the African Union Data Policy Framework. As I said, there's a project that I'm working on the simplification of the AU Data Policy Framework in a way that is more easy to read, less pages, and has a bit of graphics. So what I will do is I will forward that data policy framework with all your names. Sorry, not the data policy framework, but the youth call to action. So all the people who actively participated, there's going to be a place where your names will be listed there, of course, if you want to. And will it be taken up? My dear Frederick, I do not know. I do not have an answer for that. Let me give you an example and allow me to even share this screen. Where is it? 1 minute, Generation Connect. So let me tell you a very interesting story. Now, you're making me make this presentation to be all over the place, but no problem, as long as you get what I'm trying to say. So for 3 years, I was a youth envoy at the International Telecommunications Union, which is the UN agency for ICTs. And so I was one of the youth envoys from the African region, and there were youth envoys from the different regions of the world. So that is Africa, Commonwealth of Independent States, we have Europe, Americas region, Asia Pacific, etc. And we worked day and night for more than 3 months to develop a youth call to action, and we were passionate, right? And we had all these things that we listed. Right now, as you can see in this document, it's 5 pages. But when we were working on it, we had thematic areas, and we were saying that, you know, interestingly, the ITU is the oldest UN agency, but before our coming in as youth envoys, there was never any active involvement of young people in shaping digital development policies at a global level at the ITU. Just the other day, ITU was celebrating its 160 years, yet before 2021, there was no active involvement of youth the way you have that in like other UN agencies, like whatever. So we were so passionate, and we were working, we were saying, you know, we're representing our young people. And so usually there's this very inaugural, groundbreaking conference that happens every 4 years called the World Telecommunications Development Conference. So in 2022, it was meant to happen in Rwanda. And so they said for the first time ever since the existence of ITU, long before your grandparents were born, we are going to have a youth summit just to ensure that, you know, we bring youth together, their passion, their creativity, and we are going to, you know, present the youth call to action, which was meant to be tabled in there. So it's like a pre-event. So the youth summit was a pre-event, and then the main event was the World Telecommunications Development Conference that happens for 2 weeks. So we worked on it, and here it is. As you can see, I've even shared it on the WhatsApp group, because I would like you guys to go through it as you are coming up with this youth call to action, because we want it to be short. You see, this is five pages maximum, but actionable and things that make sense. Was it taken up? No. Nope. NOPE. it was not taken up. and this is what I always tell young people, that you are needed in rooms, but are we wanted? I will not answer that question. And so it doesn't matter whether or not they took up the youth call to action. At least we shaped it. At least it's in the digital domain. And I will always brag about it. And I know all the other 70 plus young people across the world put it in their CV that I shaped this youth call to action. ETC, of course, because of the UN and everything, our names are not there. But, we know we shaped this policy. And as I remember, again, someone was saying the other day, I don't know if it was Caroline or who, that when you're talking about change, does change only mean, when you see a tangible output from what you do, or is it just the fact that you shook the table? Sometimes just think about it. If you have things on the table, like let's say the way I have this cup here, and I shake this table, the impact of it is that in the next few seconds, even if nothing will fall off the table, there will still be some movement. And so sometimes that is the change. That is the change, that you make enough noise that people are like, and who are these young people? Because as I told you, spaces like data governance are very niche spaces. Very niche spaces that have, quote unquote, the experts, the people who started this thing. And so who are you to come to the table? But then do not be discouraged. I am very positive, at least the fact that, I'm already working with these people, and also with the support of Africa Center for Digital Transformation. We actually do hope that they will take it up. And the thing is now, and the WhatsApp community that we have is not just a WhatsApp group, but it's a WhatsApp community of practice. So we are going to continuously engage, because this cannot just end in 3 days. I'm going to come up with, I don't know, you guys will suggest how you want us to do this, whether you want me to put this in a directory on Google Sheets, or I can just be randomly sharing this on the WhatsApp group. Opportunities for engagement around the data governance space in Africa. So for example, the other day, Kenya this time hosted the East African Internet Governance Forum. So there are very many opportunities for youth to take part in that. There was a very vibrant entire day of Youth Day and Youth IGF. Also, currently, I think beginning Monday, West Africa has started the West Africa Internet Governance Forum. And then there's the Africa Internet Governance Forum, which this year is going to be hosted in Tanzania. And whether or not you get to attend physically, because you all know the constraints of funding and all that, you can start just joining the virtual engagements and hearing what it happens. So what I'm saying is that, to answer your question, Frederick, and as I'm answering your question, I'm getting into the program, is that we need to continuously engage. You will need to continuously do follow-ups with these groups, maybe do request them to come to the table, even if it's a virtual table, and say, this is what we said. Can we at least, if you don't take up everything, at least 10, can we see at least 10 things that have been taken up? And that's why I'm saying, make these points as actionable as possible, things that they can actually take up. All right, so now let's go back to the AU data policy framework, because this is what is premising the entire 3-day workshop. So I want us to just do an overview, because I feel like I really rushed through it the first day. I was scared of time and all that. So I'm not going to read page by page. Trust me, it's not even possible, because it's 84 pages. But there are certain things that I would like us to highlight. The first thing is, let me just again bring out very clearly. Sorry, 1 minute. I have a very bad cold. Yeah, so what is cross-cutting across this African Union data policy framework is the aspect that they're looking at it from a socio-economic perspective. So it is not your typical legislative or regulatory framework that is more of like cheek approach of like trying to hunt someone down. But the whole idea of it is that, how do we ensure that we can revolutionize, or we can tap into the potential of data to help boost the economy of Africa and to boost the development of Africa? So there's something very interesting here that is highlighted. Maybe let me expand and you can let me know if you can see it properly. Maybe some thumbs up. All right, thank you. So there's something that it says here. What section is that again? Section 2 on mandate. 1 minute. All right, sawa. So going back to there, it says something about data use cases for value creation. And when it talks about that, it talks about something to do with data deserts in many African countries reflect the digital divide, as many young people don't have access to services and systems used to generate data that are needed to train algorithms or to analyze for decision making. So I really wanted to talk about this, especially in the light of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence has been has been such a buzzword lately. Like literally, if you want funding for NGO, just throw in there a little AI dazzle and you have funding. Or if you have a company and you want capital funding, just list it there. But really, on a very serious note, artificial intelligence is a very important form of technology that we as Africans and then we as young people only consume, but we do not produce. For those who understand, a lot of how do I put it? The bedrock of artificial intelligence is data, right? And so I will give you an example of the European Union. It's the first region globally in the whole entire universe where human beings reside that developed the first AI, the European Union AI Act. And one of the things, and because most of our countries, the world over, just have strategies, AI principles, etc. But they actually have a legislative act that was passed in the European Union Parliament last year in around March 2024, and it has very strong sanctions and all that. But that's not even the most important thing. That act stipulates an entire fund that is in billions of euros that is meant to go towards investing in computing, high-level computing power machines and data centers, etc. So AI and data is like human beings and air, or fish and water. So AI is the fish, and then data is the water. So you cannot survive without data. And so when you're talking about how AI actually works so that it can reason as a human being, is that it is trained using data to train the algorithms. And I'm not a very techie person, but I know that there are different algorithms etc. So the thing is that when you're talking about data, is that most Africans are usually used. There's another case that was decided against Meta by a certain company they outsourced, whose name I've forgotten. And these were content moderators who were doing a lot of work in moderating content and doing lots of work around training algorithms and all of that. And so why am I even saying this? I'm saying this to say that you find that most Africans are engaged at the end user level, either as, content moderators like that, which again is a very small percentage, and data labelers and data annotators. But then we are not involved in coming up, why don't we have our own African social media platform that uses AI to predict content on your FYP and stuff like that? So coming back to this point on data use cases for value creation is that as young people, we need to start thinking about artificial intelligence and the bedrock and the supporting structures of AI from a data perspective, and how can we as young people tap into it more. So this is where you come in. This is why this training is important. So you're not just coming in only as activists, but coming in as entrepreneurs, as problem solvers, coming in as techies and all as the Elon Musks of Africa and all of that. So we need to start thinking from that perspective of how do we make sure, why not have a data center that you own, and companies contract you to have that data stored there. Why not think of okay, how can you, the gig economy, which, you know, there's a lot of opportunities in the AI space, data annotators, data labelers, data engineers, prompt engineers for generative AI and all of that. So just going on, but I've said much of what is here is that user-generated data sets such as social media updates and call direct records. Call direct is like when you're calling someone, right? Are a major part of the digital revolution, provided that they are collected in a responsible manner. These data sets can be combined and repurposed with any other data, such as anonymized citizen data, to reflect the lived realities and experiences of millions of individuals and provide valuable information in different vulnerable communities. Again, I have a friend of mine in this space who has come up with a certain, is it a chatbot? I think it's a chatbot, right? It's like how you can talk to ChatGPT, but then it understands like around 7 Kenyan languages. In Kenya, there are like 52 languages. And so we need to start thinking from that point, right? If you speak Twi to ChatGPT, will it understand? Maybe why don't you think of coming up with GPTs that understand local languages? So I want us to start thinking about this data governance space from a solution perspective, not just what we want the government to do for us or like pointing fingers, but saying that what will I do? What will I do to ensure that I get to benefit from this framework, not just from an advocacy perspective, but also economically. Yes, moving on, another thing that I wanted to mention, I think you know about what the vision and mission is. We talked about that. I wanted us to go to part 5. The guiding principles, just to remind us again. I'm using 2 screens, so apologies when you see me looking down. Maybe let me reduce this so that I can see. 5.1. 5.1. 5.1. 1 minute. That's how big this that's how big this document is, but don't be scared by it. You can just say you'll be reading 3 pages a day. Okay, so again, think about the guiding principles of this framework, even as you're thinking of the ideas you're going to add into the youth call to action. The first one is cooperation, right? So collaboration and cooperation is at the key of this, ensuring that member states, and specifically member states of the AU, of course, cooperate in exchanging data. Remember what we talked about, data sharing and data silos and data sovereignty? So this is a very big issue, and maybe you may want to start thinking about it from a research perspective, from an advocacy perspective, political will. Are countries willing to cooperate in exchanging data with each other, acknowledging data as a central input for global economy in the continent? Another one is integration. So this AUDPF seeks to promote intra-Africa data flows, remove legal barriers to data flows, and subject only to necessary security, human rights, and data protection. So what it's trying to say is that, again, there's always this debate between regulators and developers or techies. They always say, oh, the law is here to stifle innovation. And the lawyers, the regulators in the room will be saying, okay, but how do we contain technology so that it does not exacerbate human rights violations and all of those things? So the framework is seeking to ensure that it's not going to be an extra barrier to data flows, but rather it's going to encourage, data flows and data collaboration and all of that. As usual, again, fairness and inclusiveness, just ensuring that even in terms of the data sets, there's representation of all people, vulnerable groups such as youth, older people, women in all their diversities, persons with disabilities, the LGBTQ, and all of that. Trust, safety, and accountability, sovereignty. Remember, again, we said that it's not trying to come and take away the power that, let's say, Tanzania has as a country, but rather to be able to ensure that it's just here to provide an overview. It's not a very binding document. It's not like if you fail, as you can see, it's a framework. So it's not like a treaty. It does not need ratification. It does not need how do I put it? It does not have Article 1. It does not have a preamble. It's just to encourage member states to embody even these principles in how they govern data in their countries and regions. And then forward-looking, ensuring that even when you're talking about development of infrastructure, in light of emerging technologies like AI, in terms of human capacities at the academia, what courses are they putting up in the universities? It's all these are forward-looking, thinking, okay, 10 years from now, what are the skills of the future in the data governance space, and how do we start building around that? And then, of course, integrity and justice. So remember, again, I said this thing about personal and non-personal data, right? So there is personal data and there is non-personal data. Both of them are relevant, but the most sensitive is personal data, right? So data means different things for different communities and different contexts. And so contextualizing this is also very, very important. And so there's an image there that shows and tries to explain what does an enabling data policy framework look like. An enabling data policy framework is one that has different ecosystems. The first one on the far left is a legal ecosystem. The second one is a trusted data system. Those are the techies in the room, the cybersecurity guys. The third one is institutional arrangements and data infrastructure. The fourth one is public value. And then we have coherent sectorial policy, data economy, and data governance. So this is what is having an enabling data policy framework looks like, right? And so this is meant to guide member states. So think about it from a perspective of whether your country has an existing law or not. This should be there. And if it's not there, maybe it's your work to go and follow up and maybe give suggestions of how can they ensure that this ecosystem is put in place. I always have this argument with my colleagues in the space where they say, oh, data governance is only for lawyers. And that is not true. A data governance framework cannot exist if lawyers are the only people that are there in that room. I cannot code to save my life. So how are we talking about data governance? If I cannot code, we need someone who can code, right? So in the legal ecosystem, of course, there's the Bill of Rights, the usual right to life, right to freedom from discrimination, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, privacy, access to information, competition law, in terms of how do we ensure that we do not have, what is it called? We do not have, monopolies in this space. Is there space for everyone to come up with products? Cybersecurity law, right? So think about it from the perspective of cybercrime, etc. And then data protection law, of course, electronic transactions law, IP, intellectual property. So if you are the one who came up with that chatbot, how are you patenting it and all that? And then, of course, there's a data system. So these are the cybersecurity aspects of it, the data protection, technical data protection aspect of it. So think of data encryption, blah, blah, blah. And then there's ethics by design. Ethics by design. When you're coming up with, let's say, a dating app or a social media app, how do you ensure that even when you come up, like, let's say, with a privacy notice, right? It is not in a way that is meant to bore people from reading it so that they don't know what they are giving their data away for. And then, of course, self-regulation. Institutional, who is the data regulator? They need to be. So you find that the countries which has a data protection law, but there is no, standalone law or regulator who oversees the implementation of that law. So if your country does not have this, maybe, or it's there, but it's not fully independent, again, that's an opportunity for you to advocate around that. Competition regulator, an example of Kenya is the Competition Authority of Kenya, CAK. Consumer protection, remember, again, as I said, consumers, we African as the consumers, how do we ensure that, our consumer rights are protected? Financial regulator, again, that's very important because the finance sector or financial sector is also a very big sector that handles very sensitive personal data and all that. Digital infrastructure, do we have electricity? Do we have data centers and all this infrastructure that are needed to power the data governance landscape? Because if we are not, then we are starting from a point of lack. We're starting from -100, right? Do people have smartphones? Do people, so think about it from from broadband connectivity, how good and how fast is the broadband network and the connections. Digital ID, which is a big issue in Africa. And then we have public value, data creation, quality. When talking about data economy, competition, trade, taxation, we all know about the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. If it does not make money sense, then why are we talking about it? And then, of course, data governance, control, data processing, data security, data demand, data quality, data portability. And then, of course, we cannot fail to talk about aspects of data sovereignty and localization and interoperability. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is 5.3.1. 5.3.1, infrastructure. Remember, as I said, like, let's say, what I really like using analogies. So let's say we want to get like a tipper or like a very big truck to pass through a footpath. Can it pass through that footpath? No, it can't. So at the core of it all, even before we start coming up with all these laws, what is the infrastructure looking like? As you can see in the framework, it actually accesses, it acknowledges the problem, and it says that there are access barriers to broadband infrastructure that prevent people from, so broadband technically, that's just a technical word to mean internet, right? And so, but it's the entire like ecosystem from like the fiber optic cables, the nini, all that. So there are access barriers to this broadband infrastructure that prevent people from joining the data economy, even just as users. Can you imagine how bad that problem is? You're not talking about you as a creator of technology, but just basically being able to go on Twitter when there are certain places, and it's majority of places in Africa, when it rains, you're done with the electricity for that day. The story to do with the electricity, think about it maybe the next day or in 3 working business days, right? So you find that even just as users, access barriers exist, right? There's the International Telecommunications Union. There's a commission under it called the Broadband Commission, and they developed a report. It's called the Connecting Africa Through Broadband Report. And according to that report, it says that nearly 1.1 billion unique users must be connected to achieve universal, affordable, and good quality broadband internet access by 2030. The year is 2025, the clock is ticking. And an estimated $100 billion US. Like, can someone try to type in the chat 100 billion in numerics? Can someone try to type 100 billion in numerics? That is the money that is needed to do what? The investment that is needed to reach this goal over the next decade. And so for you who is there and you're passionate about finance, what I'm trying to do from this training, if you figured out, is I'm trying to help you see where can I come in, right? So if your background is finance and economics, think about these macroeconomic policies. At the end of the day, everyone talks, you know, the way they usually say in a company, the person who you should be friends with the most is the finance guy. Because at the end of the day, it's he or she who calls the shot, or them who calls the shot, right? So $100 billion. Thank you, Favor, for that is the investment that is needed to ensure that this reality of connecting 1 billion people is achieved over the next decade. And you know, that was previously. Now we have 5 years, right? And so there are a lot of contextual constraints. It's not just that, but then there's lack, because there's good news, because it says that we are at a vantage position to evolve an innovative data ecosystem, being less hampered by legacy data infrastructure and having a relatively lower spectrum utilization and congestion levels. I know I have made people just like, what Greek are you reading, Valarie? What the heck is spectrum? So technically what I'm saying, or what this text is saying, is that we have a vantage point, we have an advantage as Africans, that there is enough space up in the air. You know, the way Elon Musk came with, what's the name of that Wi-Fi that he came with, that uses satellite technology to provide internet? I've forgotten the name. Maybe someone can, Starlink. Thank you, Favor. Yes, so there is enough space. underneath the sea, we're talking about subsea cables, and in the sky and up to the satellite. There is no congestion. And so because of that, there is enough room to strengthen our broadband because our utilization is lower. So that means there's enough space for that, right? Let's go to the recommendations. Why I want us to go to the recommendation, please don't recommend what already is here. So in summary, it's saying that to accelerate the domestication of this AUDPF, there should be a massive, robust digital infrastructure rollout, robust, underline the word robust, across all the AU member states with sufficient capacity. And then thinking about capacity, think of capacity from a point of finances, human resources, yes, especially human resource. And member states should prioritize attaining meaningful connectivity and affordable internet, because that's the point of having internet if someone cannot afford it. So will they buy bread or milk, or are they going to buy data bundles, right? So there's the aspect of affordability, there's the aspect of robust digital rollout, and then they're saying also that if you want to have an uptake that is effective and to ensure that there's better utilization of data, then complementary infrastructure deficits which limit the utility of data needs to be addressed. So again, they're just talking about, addressing the infrastructure. That's a general recommendation. Then there are action points there. So they're talking about developing policies to support infrastructure sharing, prevent anti-competitive practices. I'll give you an example. When Starlink announced that it's gonna come to Kenya, all hell broke loose. All hell broke loose in the communication space in Kenya. We have the big giants like Safaricom. They even wrote to the Communications Authority of Kenya, to attack Starlink because they were coming at a very cheap auction. And I remember that time we really enjoyed. Was that around November last year? Yeah, September, October, November last year. It was really fun because Safaricom, Airtel, all these MNOs, mobile network operators, had very cheap data bundles options. That's when we realized, these people are ripping us of our hard-earned money because they're trying to compete with Starlink because they could not catch up. And so they started sending report notices to the CAK to say that, they've not complied with this taxation measure, they've not complied with this licensing requirement. And of course, all those were thrown off the hook because the role of competition is to ensure that people can get affordable data, right? So the recommendations they're saying is that we need to come up with policies that can support competition, positive competition, right? And also to invest in public Wi-Fi. And also just think again about public Wi-Fi, data protection, data privacy, what is the thin line? Also, another recommendation that they gave is there's this type of internet. It's called IPv6. IPv6. Let me just IPv6. Is there someone who knows what IPv6? Sometimes if you do a speed test of your internet, you're able to it tells you. It gives you that description. So does someone want to tell us what IPv6 is? There are no wrong answers. No wrong answers as I wind up. What? Yes, please. Anyone who wants to give it a try? I think there's some raised hands. Give me a minute. Yes, Atta, please go for it. Atta, if you're speaking, we can't hear you.
Hello. Can you please hear me?
Yes, now we can. Hello.
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 Right,
Yes,
thank you
yes.
for the opportunity. So IP version. Yeah, so IP version says is a new internet protocol version that's technically uses 32-bit address in transmitting what we have as our internet or data. So that is a new version that has come to replace the previous version of IP version 4, which we know most of the parts of the world is already full, except for that of Africa. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Atta, for sharing. That's exactly true. So some of these recommendations that they have is that they want to encourage the adoption of IPv6 because, as Atta said, the other one is sort of like a phone book and it is running out. Another recommendation that they gave is to strengthen domestic data infrastructure. And you know, what I really don't like about some of these recommendations is it says what. It's recommending by saying what, but it's not saying how. I mean, it's easy to say we want to strengthen our data infrastructure, but what the heck is even data infrastructure? Can we break that down? And then how are we going to strengthen it? So just think about it again. These are the things I want us to include in the youth call to action. So it talks about, you know, strengthening domestic data infrastructure, prioritize investments in digital infrastructure, data platforms and software capabilities. Very good terms. But how? I'm not really seeing the how, especially from a money perspective. You know, this word just just saying infrastructure. The word infrastructure is spelled in billions of US dollars. So again, the question is, who is gonna finance this? Are we always gonna wait for European Union and GIZ, and now USAID is out? You know, the funding landscape in Kenya has changed. Well, how can we fund this as Africans ourselves? How can we use our taxpayer money to fund this infrastructure that we want? And how can we ensure that there is no corruption that goes towards these projects that are launched as channels for, greedy politicians to just, squander public funds? They also talked about developing standards for public organizations to ensure data portability rights, develop a trustworthy digital identification system. So I know that there are a number of countries, I don't know the exact number, that have rolled out the digital ID. And also maybe allow me again at this point to ask, does anyone in this room want to tell us what digital ID is? Any trial of what digital ID is? Come on, guys. You can literally just ask your virtual assistant and tell us. Okay, let's see. Let's have Namata and then Andre George. Namata, please go for it. Okay, Namata has left the chat. Let's have Andre. Andre, do you want to give it a go? And then Atta.
Yes. Yes. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Good afternoon. So digital ID, it's like basically the virtual stuff that make you up. Like, let's say your ID, your biometrics, fingerprints, and any of that sensitive data that's basically your data ID. That's what I think it is. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, nice try. Some of what you said is true. Next, let's have Favor and then Atta. The ladies are really letting me down. Favor, please go for it.
So digital ID is basically like an electronic representation of yourself that you can use to identify it. It's just like your passport, your national identity card. But the difference is that this is stored electronically, although sometimes it can be used in the physical world, but the data are collected and stored electronically. Yeah.
Very true. That's very true. Let's have Atta, and then Tuya, and then Namata, and then we can proceed. I'm spending time on this because it's very important for you to understand. Yes, Atta.
Okay, thank you very much once again. So a digital ID is a way to prove who you are online. So just like we use a passport or a driving license to show your identity in the real life, A digital ID helps websites, apps, or online services to verify your identity. So it includes your names, as my other colleague said, that sometimes your photo or even login credentials. And they are usually stored securely so that one can use that to access your online platforms. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Next, let's have Tuya, and then finally Namata.
Hello, everyone. I think a digital ID is a unique identifier used to recognize people online, and it recognizes people online in terms of how they interact with people online, what sites they visit, and yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you for sharing. And finally, is it Namata? Yes, Namata.
Yes. Thank you so much. Digital ID is a unique electronic identifier that can help the government or you yourself to identify, for people to identify you online, because it is very hard when your information is there for these people to link in your devices. Yeah, and this can include digital driver's licenses, national ID cards, and other things.
Yes, thank you. Thank you all for your responses. And I really, really want you all to actually start thinking about also how can you influence, the policies around digital ID. I really like using Estonia as the best role model of digital ID in the world, right? It's like, for example, in Estonia, like it has really streamlined access to government services. You know that as citizens, we access over 30,000 government services. And so like in Estonia, everything, like when we're talking about like voting, the entire election ecosystem of it is fully virtual, is fully electronized, and things like that even help to avoid like the corruption and all these things that happen around voting and elections, and there's no rigging and all of that. So I would like you to go and research more about Estonia, to research more about Estonia and all of that, and also to go and research if your country has a digital ID, right? Because digital ID, as you all say, there's the electronic aspect of it, and so it has a lot of data. So what again it suggests is that all this data is going to be in one place, right? So from your birth certificate, from the moment you're born like this, that number is the same number that will be your driving license number. It's going to be the same number as your marriage certificate number. So literally when someone logs, when a government official logs in that number, the database is one. And so think about the risks. Of course, it helps in terms of efficient government services, it reduces data minimization, because imagine you need to remember your DL number, you need to remember your birth certificate number, your national ID number, your NIMS number for your, if someone is below 18 years. So it's trying to consolidate all this into one thing. But then think of the risk, because there's something called single point failure, right? So if someone hacks into the system, all that vulnerability is like a very huge vulnerability, from your health insurance number, all that. So again, just going back to the recommendations as I end, because I want the next 1 hour to be for deliberations, is that it's encouraging countries. One of the recommendations of this framework is to encourage countries. Let me scroll down so that you're on the same page. Where is it? Okay. So allow me to just, here we are, digital ID, so that we are on the same, in the same page. And then also another recommendation is to increase African participation in global forums and to evaluate national capacity for implementing conventions, right? So, and the recommendation for that is to develop sound data governance institutions and laws that respond to local context. So this would be your Data Protection Act. Then there's also another one on creating trustworthy data governance systems. So basically what this promotes. So as you can see, there's a way that this document is structured. So for example, there are 6 thematic areas like data infrastructure. Then it defines the problem, cloud services, etc., big data platformization. Then it gives the general recommendations and then the actionable points, right? Next, we have the thematic area of data governance. Digital ID. So it contextualizes it. It gives the recommendation. This one has no action point. Next, we have legitimate and trustworthy data systems. Defines the problem. And then so these are still tenets under that. So there's cybersecurity, there's cybercrime, data protection, right? Data justice, and then it gives general recommendations and then actions. So when we go to our youth call to action, let me go to it. Let me just share that screen. Don't worry, I know that it is still a very rough draft, right? So, for example, I don't know why someone added an entire tab. What's happening? Someone added a tab into this. Let me refuse that suggestion. All right. Okay. For example, Uhuru Room. Uhuru Room, the question is saying, what key areas should African youth focus on to strengthen inclusive rights-based data governance under the AUDPF? Emphasis is on under the AUDPF, right? What key areas should youth focus on to strengthen inclusive rights-based data governance under the AUDPF? So I want you guys to come to this document and look at these areas, right? And decide from these areas, what are the areas you're seeing that youth should take part in more, right? Is it data infrastructure? Is it digital ID? Because I'm seeing in the interest of time, we cannot go through every single bit. Is it institutional capacity building? Is it rebalancing the legal ecosystem? Is it creating public value? Is it coherent sector policies? I'm not sharing my screen. Can you guys see my screen? Oh, sorry about that. How about now? Now you can, yeah, sawa. So, as you can see, for example, Uhuru Room, what key areas should African youth focus on to strengthen inclusive rights-based data governance under the AU data policy framework? So when you're talking about key areas, I want you to come back to the data policy framework, right? And then think of the areas here. Please don't come up with novel solutions. Remember, everything you're doing is under the AUDPF. So you want to come and see, okay, maybe as a group, you feel like we want to focus. I would say, for example, for Uhuru Room, think of like around 3 to 4 areas. So there's cybersecurity, there's digital ID, those things I've been telling you about, where it's defining the problem like digital ID, recommendation, etc., or creating legitimate and trustworthy data systems. So choose from those areas. Make sure that whatever you're suggesting, guys, is not from an existing law, right? Whatever you are saying should be based on. Let's go to the next group. And also, these points are very, very shallow. I'm also not seeing the group members here. So you will agree who is going to be the rapporteur. And please text me maybe by now you should have even created a WhatsApp group for those groups. So when you see the breakout rooms, please don't join a breakout room if you're not a member of that breakout room. So you could create a WhatsApp group also, so that, because we will still need to add flesh into it until Friday, so that it's like a more farmed up document. So for example, continental collaboration, connecting with youth across borders and creating awareness. Remember how I said most of these recommendations are saying the what. It's not answering how. I want you to answer the question how. What key areas should African youth focus on? So you can say the what key areas and how should they focus on those? What key areas should African youth focus on and how can they focus on it? So come up with actionable recommendations. Please don't chat GPT this. Don't chat GPT this. I want you to come up with your unique ideas. I'm not saying you have perfect Queen's English. Let's go to the next room, which is Indaba. Indaba, I can see it has a bit more structure. That's fine. So the question for Indaba is, what concrete steps should national governments and the AU take to better protect youth data rights and align with the AUDPF? What concrete steps? Remember, for you guys, it's steps. You know, what concrete steps should national government? So I would suggest even put it as step 1, step 2, so that when you go to your country, let's say the Gambia, you'll go and say, this is the 4-step process. This is the 5-step process, depending on where you are, matters data governance. So what concrete steps should, so it's a step-like process. Step 1, maybe establish a law. Step 2, establish an authority. Step 3, think about it as the if function. If this moves to this. So if those 2 already exist, okay, strengthen, ensure that the body is autonomous. If it's already autonomous, okay, ensure that they have branches of that office in the local communities and counties and not just in the capital cities. So for Indabaru, make sure that it's a step process that flows from one to another. Again, please don't chat GPT this. I want to see your unique ideas, and you're premising this on the AUDPF. So I would suggest that let's have one rapporteur for each of the groups. One rapporteur. So please text in the WhatsApp group who is the rapporteur for Indaba Room, who is the rapporteur, and those rapporteurs, please share your email address so that I can add you to the document as an editor, right? And you're going to have different people, you know, what's it called? The other people can share it as can share it as comments, but let's have the main rapporteurs for each group. And the list of the members should be at the beginning of the questions and then the responses. Next, let's go to Sankofa Room. Sankofa Room, the guiding question is, what practical actions can we as youth commit in order to advance data governance in our communities? So for Sankofa Room, you're not saying what the AU should do or what the Ministry of ICT in Ghana should do. You're saying what is it that me and you as young people can commit to. So this is what can we commit to. So I'm thinking the wording of it should be something like, the youth commit to this and this and this, or we commit to doing this and this in order to advance data governance in our communities and region. So for the Sankofa Room, I want you to think of communities and regions from a perspective of rural communities, persons with disabilities, you know, the LGBTQ community, women, older people who are very much left out from the digital conversation. And finally, Palabre Room. Palabre Room, your question is on how do we introduce our youth call to action and what message do we want to leave with policymakers and fellows across Africa? So for Palabre Room, your work is around the wording. So even as you're discussing, please note that your final role as the Palabre Room, you'll be the people who will make sure that all these things that these other people are saying speak to each other, right? So there are going to be sections in that youth call to action. So what I want you guys to agree as what is the spirit of this document? Is it one that is confrontational? Is it one which is encouraging? Is it, you know, so what is the theme? What is the spirit? Come up with the vision statement. Come up with the 5 key objectives of the youth call to action. And what is the one message? We, the youth of Africa, blah, 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 blah. So I hope you get it. But because your work is very easy, right? Your main role will come much later, but you can still put an outline there of going through the document to ensure that whatever you say flows. I hope it's clear. So before we move into our breakout rooms, which will take 30 minutes, I'm gonna take any questions, first about the youth call to action and then about the content. So let's start with questions on the youth call to action. Anyone? Yes, Frederick, please go for it.
My question is this, like, let's say my group, we have been informed to bring the solution or the innovative about the youth call to action. So the project or the idea that we should be bringing, they should be aligned with the AU or with the AU, let's say they should come with the AU objective there from the pamphlet, or? Thank you.
Okay, let me just try to make sense of what you've said. To answer your question, yes. Whatever suggestions you're giving should, first of all, what group are you in? Frederick?
I'm in the group that is supposed to discuss the innovative.
What's the
innovative.
name?
The name is.
What's the name of the group?
The name of the group. Is it?
You don't know. You don't know what group you're in.
I think Frederick's supposed to be in our group, the Indaba one.
Yeah.
Indaba. Okay, let's go to Indaba. So, what have I done? I hope I've not deleted anything. Indaba. What concrete steps should national governments and the AU take to better protect youth data rights and align it to the AUDPF? So it should exactly be that. So one is that, what is the goal? To protect youth data rights. And two, to ensure that the national laws align with the AUDPF. So yes, again, you're basing this on the African data policy framework. Remember on day one, I said that it's not a standalone framework. It links to other existing documents like the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. So I'm not saying that don't consider those others, the Maputo Protocol, the African Charter for Children's Rights, etc. No. But then the main guiding document is the African Data Policy Framework. I hope I've answered your question. Any other questions, clarifications? So please, let's be serious about this. I've shared the data, the youth call to action on the WhatsApp group for the ITU, the one which is rejected, good as it is, right? But like, can you also be serious? Because I don't want to be embarrassed taking a document to the AU and they say, so this is all that 35 plus people came up with. Please let this document embody more than these 35 minds. And if someone is not contributing in the group, remove their names, okay? So that they don't ride on other people's work. I know how this group work sometimes. So are we good? Any other questions? Any general questions as to the content I've talked about today? 2 minutes and then we get into our groups for 30 minutes, then we'll come back and present and close. So any questions? Yes, Mariam? Mariam, I see your hand is raised.
Thank you so much, Ma.
Okay.
My question is to further clarify.
Yes, please.
On what the mission or vision statement should be like. Is it going to form like an introductory part of the document? Or are we just to state exactly just the mission and vision statement regarding the AUDPF? Thank you.
No. Please. It's going to guide the youth call to action. The AUDPF have already vision statement.
Mission and vision statement. Yes.
Yes. So this is the vision and mission statement of the youth call to action. And think about the wording, youth call to action, right? So everything about this document is actionable. We are saying that as young people are tired of saying we will do, we shall deliberate, we shall develop, we shall implement, we shall launch. No, what are we doing as young people and the youth allies? What do we want them to do? And think about things that can be done within 3 to 8 months. 3 to 8 months. So anything that involves anything more than like 1 million US dollars is a bit too ambitious. We want to see things that can actually be tracked within 3 to 6 months. So I hope I've answered your question. It's going to be the vision statement and mission statement for this document. But also you have a very easy and difficult role. The last group, is it Sankofa? Is it Sankofa? Let me see. It's a very easy and hard Palabre, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Valarie.
So for the Palabre room, you're thinking about the entirety of the document. Remember how we said yesterday, it doesn't matter how well-meaning you are, if you put it the wrong way, right, you have failed before you started. So you're thinking about the aspects of persuasion. This is an advocacy thing we are doing. How convincing do we want to get? Who are the stakeholders we are getting at? What are the guiding principles? But like, don't get too technical with it or too formal. Not really. But I would say, Palabre room, please refer also to the ITU youth call to action. Just think about like the wordings and all of that. That should help. So in the interest of time, allow me to create the breakout rooms. I don't know if there's someone today from ACDT. I don't think Eve is here with us today. But like you'll have 30 minutes to get into your breakout rooms. Kindly only join the breakout rooms that you are under, so that you discuss and then have a rapporteur, let them share their email addresses with me on WhatsApp, and then also agree on who's gonna present, and you'll have 3 minutes each to present, and then you're going to have the closing session. So these are the breakout rooms. Okay, so we have Uhuru, Indaba, Palabre. I really like that name, Palabre. I don't know what it means though. I just know it's a Central African name. So please let me know if you can see the rooms. Can I see some thumbs up? Okay, great. So let me put the timer. Yes, Tuya, please.
I have been invited to join Indaba, and yet I'm in Palabre.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And you can't see the other rooms?
Yeah, I can't see. I can only see Indaba.
Okay. 1 minute. Let me just fix that. Let me just fix that. Breakout rooms. The only problem is that this link is owned by ACDT, and I can see Eve is not here today. So I've put shuffle. How about now? Is there anyone who has similar challenges? Yes, Adriel?
Hello, Valarie.
Hello.
Yes, so the group that I was in yesterday was Palabre, but today it's asking me to join Oruro.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah, same here.
Same here. Okay, just give me 1 minute. Let me fix that.
All right.
Okay, Eve is coming to help us with that. So sorry for that. Don't worry, I will add more time. So let me just close the rooms first. Hi, Eve.
Hi, Val. Is everything okay now?
No, it's not. So the issue is people do not have they cannot see all the rooms. They've been assigned the rooms. So I'm trying to close the rooms so that we can fix that again, because there are certain people who they already know the groups they should join.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right.
Close all rooms now.
Good. I think what we can do is just open the rooms without assigning anybody. Then everyone goes to the room they were assigned to yesterday. Would that be okay?
Okay. Yeah, I think that would be okay.
Yeah. So let me just help with that quickly.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay, guys. So I've closed the room so that Eve can help us fix this, because I think I set the breakout rooms wrongly. So just 1 minute and then we'll reassign guys to their rooms.
Yeah. I mean, does everyone know the room they were in yesterday? You know,
yes,
anyone who doesn't know their room?
Everyone knows their rooms.
Perfect. So in the next minute, the rooms will be open and then we can all join.
Okay, maybe we can, I don't know if you can please put a timer for 30 minutes.
30 minutes, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect, okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, 30 minutes, but I'd have to jump because I jumped from one meeting.
No problem.
Yeah.
No problem.
So guys, have fun. Please let me know if it's open.
Can you please, let's see some thumbs up if you can see all the breakout rooms. Some thumbs up, guys. Okay. No, you can't see it.
But it's opened.
Yeah, it shows on my end as well.
It's open, right?
Anyone who can see the breakout rooms? No.
I can, from my end, I can see breakout room in session ending in 30 minutes, but I cannot see the different groups and how we can join in.
Oh.
Yes, same on my end.
Yeah, it's the same here.
It's the same. So you all can see that breakout room ending in 30 minutes, but
yes, it's up there.
Yeah.
It's up.
There is no link to the breakout rooms, but it shows that a breakout room session has been created.
Okay, let's just fix that again.
I was gone off.
Okay, just 1 minute, guys. So sorry about that.
Okay, then it means we have to go the longer routes to manually put everybody in the room like yesterday.
Oh, okay.
So that might take some time, but
but then the thing is now there are certain people who are in different rooms, or if that takes time, I don't know. Because whoever was in yesterday's room are the same people who they need to keep discussing and working on the call to action.
Okay, this is what we can do. Also, just for everyone, if we shuffle you to like a room, are you able to see another room and join yourself? Is this an
Maybe
option?
let's try that and see.
Yeah, so that we just put everybody.
Earlier, I was able to see another room, Nkuru, which I don't belong to.
Okay.
So we are going to try this, guys. We would just randomly put you in any group. If that's not your group, join the next group, okay? If you're unable to join any group, like if you can't see the group you're supposed to, just come to the main room and we'll manually add you to your main group. Is that okay? Yes, I think.
Yeah.
Technology is advanced, but sometimes it's stressful.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are opening the rooms now. And then the rooms are open. Feel free to join. Yeah, feel free to just join in these rooms. If you realize that it's not your room, come back to the main room or try to see if you can join. Yeah. Okay, I think that should work. And it's still 30 minutes.
Can I cancel invitation and select the room I want to go to? Oh, it
Perfect.
cannot
If you're
open
able to see it, if you're able to see it, do it. Yeah.
But I
Yeah,
don't
I'm
think
seeing
can.
Parabre. But
Namata.
So
I've seen Parabre room and I joined because it is not where I belong.
Okay. But can you see any other room?
No, I'm seeing only.
Okay. Oh, she didn't even see which room she belonged.
Yeah, it only shows one room. And on my end, I can see all of them.
So
yeah,
can you
maybe guys, please click there's a square with around like 6 boxes. It shows different breakout rooms. When you click, it shows all of them. Are you guys able to see that? Next to the chat, the chat part. I think they are joining in. Okay. Yes. So if you, but then the thing is, I don't know, I don't have the, can I add someone?
Sorry,
I
can
don't
you
think
describe the breakout room? You said it's next to where?
Let me take a photo and put it.
So mine keeps on taking me to Indaba, but I'm in Uhuru group. So do I stay with Indaba?
No,
you're in Uhuru group.
Yes.
Let me see if I can add you.
Yes,
I think I need to be reshuffled with that person who has received a link from Indaba, because I'm supposed to be in Indaba, but I'm receiving the one for Uhuru.
Sorry, who's speaking now?
I'm Stephen Kihara.
Stephen, you're from which group? You're supposed to be in which group?
I'm supposed to be in Indaba, but I'm receiving a link for Uhuru.
Let me try adding you to Indaba.
Also, me, I'm supposed to be in Uhuru.
That is Bridget?
Yes.
Okay, let me add you to Uhuru.
Are you able to do it, Valerie?
Yes, I think I can. Bridget, can you see Uhuru?
Okay, I will be back shortly.
No, I can't. It's just the
you
other
can't?
group.
Oh, Eve, I can't do that. Oh my goodness. Okay, so what we are going to do, guys, is maybe for today, feel free to contribute in whatever room you're in. I think that's what we can agree at. But then, after this call, I would ask you to create WhatsApp groups for that particular group, and we can continue adding just like the list that was there yesterday. But specifically for today, in the interest of time, just feel free to join the group you've been assigned. Yeah, and then feel free to join whatever group you can join, contribute there, but then beyond today, we are going to still go back to our initial rooms. Yeah. Okay, I can see you still have a number of people in the main call. Let's see. Adriel, please feel free to join any group and contribute there. Atta, Claudius, Godfrey, Godsil, Leah, Leila, Rosens, Zubeda. Just join whatever group and contribute there, and then you will revert back to your other groups after today's call so that you can continue contributing. So just join whatever group, no pressure. Rosens, please join any group assigned to you.
Hi Valarie, could you add me in a group? I'm not able to see any on my end.
You can't see any group?
Yeah.
There is this, there's this image. Let me take a photo of it and put it, because, okay, let's see. Maybe let me try adding that layer. I don't know if I'm able to do that. I've shared it on the WhatsApp group.
Let me check.
So that's the battle for the breakout rooms. Is there anyone who also cannot see? All right. So Leah, you are meant to be in which group?
Uhuru.
Okay, let me try adding you right now. Can you see it now?
I also want to be added into the groups. I'm failing to add.
Rosens, which group are you at? Are you meant to be? Uhuru? Okay, yes. 1 minute.
Please, this is Atta. I also belong to the last group, but I'm seeing
which group?
The last group, please.
Palabra. I'm also in Palabra, but I cannot see it.
Sorry, let's have one person at a time. I'm panicking right now. So Atta, which group? Tell me the name of the group so I can add you.
The last group, I can't pronounce the name. I think it's a something.
Palabra. Okay. So that's Atta. And then Mariam, which group, please? Palabra as well?
Yes, ma.
Okay. All right. So please let me know if you can see it.
Hey, and Uhuru? Andre, it's Andre.
And Andre Uhuru, okay.
Yeah.
All right. There are still more people in the call. So Favor, please.
Sankofa.
Sorry, who?
John Torres Sankofa group.
Torres Sankofa. Okay, 1 minute.
Sankofa. I'm also in Sankofa in case you need to others.
Torres Favor. Okay.
Yes.
I'm also Sokofa.
Rovia. Yes, Miriam. Yes, Miriam. Okay. Let's see who's still on the call. Julius, which room are you supposed to be in? Julius, are you there? Miriam? Is there someone having challenges with joining? God's will? Atta Senior, are you there? Leila Abdallah?
I think my group is Uhuru.
Okay, let me add you there. Okay. Kapasa, Sitambuli. What group are you supposed to be in? Justina Zulu. Justina, are you there? I can see you on the main call. Okon, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. My group is Sankofa, but I keep getting Uhuru room. So that's my challenge.
Let me put you to Sankofa. Let me put you to Sankofa. Okay. I've assigned you to Sankofa. Atasinia, are you there? Justina Zulu, Kapasa.
Thank you.
Kapasa, Ata, are you there? Godfrey, are you also having challenges with joining a group?
Yeah, I think it still comes to Uhuru, so I'll just join Uhuru.
Are you able to see Uhuru?
Yeah, I can see
Okay,
it.
is that the group you're supposed to be in?
No, Sankofa.
Sankofa. Okay, let me add you to Sankofa.
Okay, good.
Yes, Kapasa. Kapasa, are you there? Kapasa, I saw you tried to raise your hand. What group are you supposed to be in? Palabre. Who's that? Let's see. Okay. Justina, Kapasa, I can see you on the main call. What groups are you supposed to be assigned? Justina? Yes, Kapasa. What group are you supposed to be joining in?
I'm not sure. I'm having difficulties because I'm unable to view which group I'm in.
No, that's what I'm saying. What group were you in yesterday?
I couldn't keep track because I was moving, so I'm unable to know which group I was in. I was just listening with my headphones.
Okay, so I'm just gonna put you to any group. So just join the group we've been assigned right now. Can you see a group?
Yes.
Okay, just join that one.
Also, madam, let's finish which group I'm in because I haven't been attending the classes.
Okay, so I'm just gonna put you at Indaba.
All right, sure, madam.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So are you able to see the group? Okay. Hi, Dennis. Are you able to see any breakout room to join? Hello? Dennis, are you there? Dennis Tembo? Dennis, are you there?
Oh yes, I'm here. My network is a bit low, but
What
I'm
group are you
definitely.
supposed to join?
Come again.
What group are you supposed to be working under?
Yesterday I didn't finish the lessons.
Okay.
Yes, I logged out at I think 30 minutes before the lessons. I don't know if it was maybe 45 minutes before the lessons ended.
Okay, so I'm just gonna add you to Uhuru room. Oh no, it's not the wrong. It's the wrong Dennis. It's Dennis Tembo. All right. I've assigned you to Uhuru room. Please let me know if you can see it. Hi, Dennis. Dennis, can you hear me? Hey. Dennis. Oops. Yes. Hi, Dennis. Are you able to join a breakout room?
Hi, Valerie. I was in my group. I was in the Huru, but I was prompted to join the main call. So I just joined the main call. Otherwise, I was in a group. I was in a room.
Oh, okay. Because I think it's not timed. So we have like, oh, I think people are coming back. Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah,
Let's
I
see.
think I'm being prompted because I was actually unable to open my mic. So there was this prompt that was asking me to join the main call. So I had to join the main call. I don't know what happened.
Oh, okay. Because we have like 2 more minutes left. So let me reassign you. You are in Uhuru room, right?
Uhuru, yeah, please, kindly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, karibu. Hi, Salim. Hi, guys. Have you been brought back to the main call, or what's happening? Salim, do you have a breakout room? Salim Combo, can you hear me? Hi, Adriel. Hi, Salim. Every prayer today is a seed for tomorrow. His way is path. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome. Let's wait for more people to join in. I hope you've had great deliberations, and apologies for the little technical hitch.
I think, Valerie, we were not through with the discussion. I think
I'm so sorry. You have you can have until midnight and the conversation will not be end, but not to worry. You will have until Friday. So I suggest that you guys will agree how you will do it. I understand that there are those initial groups that you guys were assigned yesterday, and some of you had to join groups you are not meant to be. The time ended up very fast from our end. Oh, really? No, but I put a timer for 10 minutes, and before that, guys were in their room for like 20 minutes. Yes, Favor?
Yeah, same thing happened to Sankofa groups. I'm not sure we spent up to like even 15 minutes in the breakout room and the call ended.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that, guys. But in the interest of time, we'll just present whatever you guys have to present. But you have until Friday. So feel free to agree how you will do it. I suggest maybe create a WhatsApp group for your particular group. So remember the names that were under those groups yesterday. Those are the groups that you are supposed to maintain. So if you're not in a group, please make sure you are in a group, right? And you guys will agree how to do it. So I suggest even like do it in a separate Google Doc. So feel free to create a Google document, let's say Uhuru group or Indaba group, and then deliberate there. And then let's have the document submitted to my email by Friday, 5 p.m. East African time. 5 p.m. East African time Friday, right? And then I will compile everything and then give everyone commenting status. And so the Palabre room will again come in to just make sure that everything flows. So yes, Leah.
Hi, Valerie. Just an ask from your end. Could you just create a community and then have subgroups of the respective groups? In that case, it will be easier for you to remain with one dominant group, and then we can dissolve if there's need.
Yeah, afterwards. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna do that just after this call. Great. So let's have presentations from the groups. You have 2 minutes each to present, or is 2 minutes? 2 minutes long. Okay, 2 minutes each to present. Eve, I don't know if the time will allow us. I don't know if I saw Eve from ACDT. I don't know if she left already. But let's aim for, let's say 1 hour, 1 minute, 30 seconds. So I'm gonna time that 1.5 minutes. So just get to the points. Let's start with, today we start from down going up, right? So let's start with Palabre Room. So I'm gonna share the screen, and Palabre Room, the floor is yours. Your 1.30 minutes, 1.5 minutes begin when you're ready. So do we have a representative of Palabre Room? Representative from Palabre Room, please. Irene, Adriel, Ian, Miriam, Josephine, who's presenting for Palabre? Who's presenting for Palabre? Haji, Juma, Salim, Abeda. Am I being heard? Yes. Is there not anyone from Palabre Room here? Hello?
Okay, so Valarie, so from our group, I think most of our original members were not around today. So it was difficult picking from where we left off yesterday. So I think, as you said, maybe we need to gather ourselves together so that we can put something together. So we're not able to do much in our group, basically.
Okay. Let's see Sankofa. Sankofa Room. Okay. Indaba Room. Indaba
Sorry,
Room.
Sankofa Room. I will
Kofa,
go.
okay.
I was trying to use my mic. Yeah, so we did not really discuss much, but I will just share what we got. So George from Kenya was making suggestions on how we youths can advance data governance policy for people living in rural areas. And he suggested that we can create printable contents that are easy to understand and simplify the complex issues on data governance to explain to these people living in rural areas. And we can follow up on this by creating small groups in different local communities with representatives that will follow up with policymakers to ensure that these call to actions are being implemented and represented properly. There is John from Kenya also suggested that we can utilize ear-to-ear network by using community radio to inform or educate the people living in rural areas on their data rights. And I did not get to share this, but this was what I took down. Favor from Nigeria for people living with special abilities. I as a youth would suggest that we first of all learn the skills of basic data collections. So if the government will not do it, we can do it ourselves by going to, for instance, let's say you go to schools to collect data. How many students living with disability cannot access the computer due to the chair? How many of them cannot access the mouse? So using those data, we can, after getting the data, the follow-up action can be using storytelling to leveraging the digital media to share these issues with the support of blogs, or also collaborate with organizations that are centered on people living with disabilities to ensure that these data are collected and used properly. And lastly, I will, for now, also suggest that we, as youths, we can create like an audit group that actually highlights the document barrier. So when you try to like watch a video or fill a form website, people who are blind, people who can't talk, are there like captions for them? Are the website accessible for people with from this?
Hi, Favor, did you stop talking? Hello? Is it just me or we lost Favor? She's not heard, right? Okay. Maybe let's have Uhuru room. Please just in less than. Okay, yes, now I can. Please just try to wrap it up in less than a minute.
I'm wrapping up. Yeah. So
okay.
So yes, I was saying that we can pretend to be like PWS, people living with special abilities, to use this official website and try to understand the document barrier, collect this data and compile it into a letter or even like a video and send to these management commissions in a different countries. Thank you. I think I'll stop there.
All right. All right. Thank you. A round of applause for Sankofa. Okay, let's have Uhuru in just 1 minute, please. Uhuru team, please, time is really not on our side. Okay, which other room did I not mention? Indaba, Sankofa, Palabre. Which group wants to present? Okay, so allow me to just close this. I know that time has not been on your side, but let me say that if there are young people like you who exist in this continent, then our future and our present are in good hands, right? So thank you so much and congratulations to yourself. Please give yourself lots of virtual claps for being consistent for these 3 days. Thank you for reminding me about the attendance list. Let me share the same. Just right now, I had already created it, right? Day 3. Day 3. So let me share it in the chat. Thanks for reminding me about that. All right. That's the attendance list. You can fill it in the meantime. But allow me to just say that, wow, what a journey it's been over the past 3 days. First, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for showing up, for speaking up, for bringing your stories, your energy, your struggles, your favorite jams, your music, your vision. It's been nothing short of powerful. When we started this workshop, we set out to explore something that many people still think is too technical or too far-fetched from everyday life, which is data governance. But what we have seen here from Kenya to Ghana to Nigeria to Zambia to Botswana is that data is not abstract. It is deeply personal. It's our names, our identities, our voices. It's the systems that decide who gets access and who gets left out. And for us as African youth, it's the difference between being invisible or being seen and heard. This week, you've proven that youth are not too young to lead. You've dissected complex policies, questioned power structures, and most importantly, you are co-creating a bold youth call to action that will echo far beyond this Google Meet room. You've reminded us that digital transformation cannot happen without justice, that technology must be rooted in the spirit of Ubuntu, in our shared humanity, or it risks leaving the most vulnerable behind. You asked the tough questions. Why are we not consulted in decisions about data? Why are digital ID systems being built faster than data protection laws? And how can we build digital futures that center inclusion, dignity, and African values? These are not only questions, they are demands from young people like you and me, and you have met them with clarity, passion, compassion, and courage. So what happens next? This is not the end, it's just the beginning. You are now part of a growing movement of young data governance champions. Let's keep staying connected, keep building, share what you've learned on social media, on LinkedIn, tag us, tag ACDT, tag Valarie Waswa. Use your platforms, powerful as it is, to speak at town halls, write to your MPs, publish that blog, organize in your communities, push for change, even when it feels slow or messy or like no one is listening. Remember this space. Remember the 40, 50 other young people who, like you, believe in a future where data works for its people and not just power. And remember that your voice matters, your vision matters, and your work is just beginning. From the bottom of my heart and on behalf of ACDT, Africa Center for Digital Transformation, thank you for being part of this journey. I can't wait to see what you all go on to build. We move forward together in solidarity. Valarie Waswa. Thank you so much. We've come to the end of our workshop. You will be receiving your certificates in 3 to 5 days via email. Let's keep engaging. I can see Africa Center of Digital Transformation is here. Eve, would you please also give your closing remarks? So let's put our hands, virtual claps together for Eve. She opened for us. Let her also close for us as well. Asanteni sana. All right, I think I saw ACDT clapping. Or was it a meeting? An Otter AI, no problem. So in absentia, ACDT is with you. Salim, yes, Salim. Yes, Salim. Was that an accidental hand? All right. So goodbye, guys. Kwaherini. Kwaheri is goodbye in Kiswahili. See you in the street of WhatsApp. Let's keep engaging. Let's keep working on our group activities. By Friday, please submit your group assignments with your names so that you can together be published in the youth call to action. Till next time, goodbye and have a good rest of your day, evening, or afternoon. Bye-bye.